Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm Jeremy Lott. Joining me today is the Center Square's State House reporter, Brett Davis. The top Republican in the Washington State Senate expressed some optimism Tuesday about the prospects of a bill to ease restrictions on vehicular pursuits by police in the state. Brett, what's going on there?
So I went down to Olympia earlier this week and had a chat with Senator Mark Mullet, and he told me that if the police reform legislation makes it to the Senate, that the Senate Majority Leader Andy Billick has promised it will get a committee hearing in Law and Justice.
Thus, Senator John Braun, the head of the Republicans, is a little bit optimistic.
Yes. So it looks like this thing is, as it says in the headline, gaining some traction. So this is a little bit of a movement forward, considering Senator Monica Dingra, the chair of the Senate Law and Justice Committee, has, in the past refused to hear any proposed changes to the pursuit law. So it looks like there's a little bit of movement on that front.
Braun seemed excited, and then you went and talked to Mark Mullet. I don't know. Before you tell us about the interview, just tell us about what it's like to go through to get to someone's office in the because a lot of people don't know that. What do you go through to do that?
Yes, actually, this time when I went, I actually had to go through a metal detector. So I emptied out all the metal from my pockets, and I, of course, had a bag with me with all kinds of equipment and stuff in it. And so I made it through the metal detector okay. And the security card, don't do an exhaustively thorough search of the bag. You just had me open it up, and he looked in a little bit, and I was on my way. So they have a little bit of a layer of security. It's not like you can just waltz into a senator's office. I had been there before to a different senator's office, and there was no metal detector that time. There was a security guard that had to let me in, but no metal detector. Not too bad.
Not too bad. And then you sat down and talked with Mark Mullet, who I have joked is the most hated Democrat in the Senate.
Yes.
The reason I say that, it's because literally our governor campaigned against him, a member of his own party. And, Mullet managed to survive that. And, he's still managed to, retain some ability to sway people. And anyway, so he's been working on this issue of police reform. And what did he have to say to you?
Well, one of the interesting things he mentioned was that, before this new restrictive police pursuit policy went into effect, that individual jurisdictions, they had their own vehicular pursuit policies, and some of them were, a lot more strict than the state requirement. And he basically said that, here's his quote, "But before, when those jurisdictions limited pursuits, it wasn't front page news. Nobody knew they were doing it. And nobody was driving away because they had no clue what the internal policy was of that individual police department." And basically he said the problem now is the bill passed and everyone found out. So basically he's saying the publicity has shined a light on police pursuit, rules that people didn't know about before. And it's caused a lot of problems.
Yeah. And he worked, there was two different schools of thought, as they say, about what to do about police pursuits this year. One of them was, let's fix it. And the other one was, let's study it, basically.
Right. And that would be Senate Bill 5533, which is apparently dead now.
Yeah. And actually, Mullet had some, he talked to you about his role in killing the study bill, basically.
Right. He said, that's pretty much dead in the Senate. And that's pretty much the same thing Braun said at a press conference earlier this week. Yeah. So we have a little bit of bipartisan agreement there.
Indeed. So, but, he actually, Mullet had something to say about, why it died and why he, pushed for it to die. And that was that he talks about messages, this law was passed and everybody found out. It's a similar thing. He said, I don't want people to take from this legislature that, we're looking into it. I want, them to know that
want some action to be taken.
He wants people to see, there to be headlines, there to be, the law has been changed. Police can chase more freely. It's along the similar lines of he wants to telegraph a message.
Right. So the message being sent right now is, you can flee from the police with, little or no consequences. I thought it was interesting when I asked him about Monica Dingra's, opposition to this bill. And he basically said, a lot of folks in the caucus realize that the status quo is unacceptable. So I'm guessing pressure is building. Yeah. People want something done about this.
So in the House, they passed one bill that was a pretty thoroughgoing reinstatement of what we had before. And then they decided that couldn't get through the Senate. And so then they passed a substitute bill. And that's in committee. It hasn't passed the full House, correct?
Right. It has not passed the whole House.
Okay. But they probably have the votes for it.
Yes. That's the read I'm getting as well.
Okay. And so that bill it does not have the ability to pursue car robberies, and car robberies have skyrocketed in this state.
Right. I guess what I guess it's a little bit watered down from the original bill. It allows police to pursue, people suspected of violent crimes or sex crimes or DUIs.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't think you have to get a sign off from your superior to do it anymore the way that you've had to previously.
I think you have to let them know, but I don't think you need the sign off if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Have fun. But yeah, John Braun told me that, this gets to the Senate. We're going to see what we can do about car thefts and chasing, suspected car thieves.
Which I had a little bit of experience with this past weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, we had someone try and steal our Kia Sorento on Saturday night. So broke out the back passenger window and jimmied the console off the ignition, and they were unsuccessful.
Yeah, bad
real
times.
Pain in the
yeah, pain in the noggin, huh?
Yes.
Well, we'll continue to follow this story. Listeners, keep up with this and more at thecentersquare.com. For Brett Davis, this is Jeremy Lott. Please subscribe, and thanks for listening.
Freedom and liberty are important to all of us. If you're looking for civil, intellectual conversations with those shaping the future of freedom, try the Future of Freedom podcast with me, Scott Bertram. We speak with leaders across the country in the greater conservative and libertarian movements. In-depth conversations about where the next intellectual battles will happen across the country. It's the Future of Freedom podcast. Find it at americastalking.com or wherever you get your podcasts.